Martin. What is markup? Let's start there.
Markup is an amount that you add to cost to come up with your price. So, and you can do it as a percent, you can do it as just a dollar amount. But to make it simple, if you have something that costs $100 and you add $10 to it, that's your markup.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think and what are some common things that you see? I'll give some that I see, but with markup strategies, what do you see some contractors do in terms of using markup to price jobs?
Well, it's very confusing when you look at how people do it. We can talk about why that is, but basically they'll say 25%, right? So they just look at their cost and let's say you got $100,000, so they add 25,000 on top. And then they do other things like add 10% more for office, right? Overhead, burden, and profit. And I really don't like using those descriptions of this is my markup for doing the job, this is my markup for profit, and this is my markup for overhead. If you're doing that, you just marked it up. Let's say you do 25, 10, and 10. You just marked it up 45%. I don't care what you call it, right? But it's kind of confusing because you wanders off into topics about burden and overhead costs that are getting allocated to jobs, which really kind of mess things up, really confuse things.
Yeah.
But the biggest problem with markup is people go around talking about, we'll have lots of conversations as we did with Tom Reber, where if you're new at the game, 50% margins. They go, okay, I got $100 cost. I'm going to add 50% to that as a markup. So that's $150 is my price. Well, that's okay, but your margin is $50. If your cost was $100 and you added 50, your margin is $50, and $50 is 33% of $150.
So you really
your
had
margin
a 3% margin.
Yeah. And that's the big thing is people don't recognize that when they think about margins and paying their bills and good margins and healthy margins, they equate them with markup, and they're not the same thing.
Yeah. I think
a markup always results in a margin, right?
Correct.
But the margin is always less than the markup.
Correct.
Yeah.